Hey, gang, it's Yergz. Welcome. Welcome. It's time for another trip up the middle. I'm your host, Yergz. We are today going to be talking about fascism on the right and the whole concept of going woke and going broke. As you guys know, I am not a fan of either. What I am a fan of is using some level of technology to further the program and what we're doing. So, like we did with some of the initial parts of Biden versus Kushner, today I used my own profile on ChatGPT to get a base for our fascism, the growth of fascism in America, and go woke, go broke on the left side. I am not for extremism at all, for anything. You know, too much of a good thing, yada, yada, yada. So if these people feel this is a good thing, clearly too much of it is going to hurt our country. So, for purposes of citations, today's scripts started through artificial intelligence. And for purposes of like, I don't want it to see like I'm just doing this from artificial intelligence and throwing it onto the internet and it's mine. I edited, found some things that I don't believe to be accurate. So I either took it out or I pointed out. On one case with the wokeism, I actually left it in and I said, no, that's not true. And and I bullet point, some verbally bullet point, some additional info so that you know that, yeah, it's a battle that's been going on for a while. I don't think the extremism is totally something new. There was the McCarthy, communist, far right movement in, I believe, the 50s, counterculture, and we're going to talk about, counterculture and flower power from the 60s and into the 70s. So none of this is really something that new. So let's get started. Well, it is important to acknowledge that there are individuals or groups within the United States who may advocate for or express interest in fascist policies. It is crucial to note that such sentiments are not representative of a broader population. That's why you're here. We take some stuff from the right that we like, we take some stuff from the left that we like, and where's it go? Straight up the middle. And that's where everybody's really going to come together. Fascism as an ideology promotes authoritarianism, Florida, extreme nationalism, suppression of dissent, Florida, and the rejection of democratic principles, Donald Trump. It is generally considered an extremist and fringe ideology in the United States. I mean, it's growing, I think, and that's because it's the loudest or one of the two, the extremes of the loudest. And that's why I think we've got a good thing that we've started here. Is that we're giving a voice, that thing right there, and we're going to take the flag back. It's not that far right piece of property that people are treating it as. So, however, it is worth mentioning that in recent years, there have been concerns about the rise of far right movements, white supremacist groups, and ideologies associated with hate and extremism. These groups may incorporate elements of fascist ideology within their belief systems. Their increased visibility in the public sphere, particularly through online platforms, Truth Social, and now even Twitter, and state level politics has sparked discussions and concerns about the potential influence of extremist ideologies. And when I say state, it's not just Florida. Look at how many states are just flat out banning Democratic members, duly elected, legally elected, justly elected Democratic Party members from state legislatures. Montana has their first Democrat trans woman that they just flat out aren't letting in. That's not okay. Factors that have been attributed to the interest in extremist ideologies include economic anxieties, social and cultural changes, political polarization, like now, And the proliferation of online echo chambers, again, Truth Social and even Twitter, these factors can create fertile ground for fringe ideologies to gain attention and attract followers who feel disillusioned, marginalized, or disenchanted with the status quo. I keep mentioning Twitter, and I bet I can feel it coming back. So I'm going to say it. Ever since the takeover, purchase, whatever, of Twitter by Elon, I've noticed on my own profiles a very right wing, good old boy. I'm getting stuff from the right politically that I never subscribe to. I mean, for purposes of this show, I look at it, I consider it because, that's how you are actually fair and balanced. But I didn't subscribe to it. You know, look at this watch. Look at this wristband. I'm gay. I don't need to see women in bikinis, which is what my jet ski channel on Twitter seems to be getting. In addition to the stuff I've subscribed to, jet ski oriented things, I'm getting lots of babes in bikinis. I promise you, I did not subscribe to that. But the rest of Florida did. So, anyway, it's important to recognize that the overwhelming majority of Americans reject fascist ideologies and embrace democratic values, equality, and pluralism. The United States has a strong tradition of democratic governance, free speech, and protection of individual rights, which act as important safeguards against the spread of extremist ideologies. I mean, except Florida and anything anti drag show. To counter the appeal of extremist ideologies, various efforts are undertaken, including promoting civic education, fostering dialogue, promoting inclusivity and tolerance, and addressing the underlying social, economic, and political factors that contribute to the rise of such ideologies. It is crucial to approach discussions on this topic responsibly, avoiding generalizations or stigmatization of any particular group, including white men or community, and recognizing that the vast majority of Americans remain committed to democratic values and reject extremist ideologies. Unless, of course, they support Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump. So that's that right side, that far right fascist, and where that's coming from. The go woke or go broke side, we are in the process of developing yergz.com, Yergz.com. So all of this social media that you see on the screen right now or are thinking about at home, for those of you listening on the audio only podcasts, it's going to be centralized for you in that, I'm just going to say, go to yergz.com. Any phone, any tablet, any computer is going to have a web browser. You can go to that, and from there, just find us on your own favorite platform, whether it's social media, podcasting directory. I'm not even using the podcasting overlays anymore that show, I think we had like 4 or 5 at that. We're in a dozen different podcasting directories, and we're about to add 12 more. We can't fit that on the screen. So yergz.com, save that now so you've got it. Aroma by Peter, that's one of our newest and most awesome sponsor. Aroma by Peter, we got one burning now. It's down to the bottom, so I don't want to touch it because I'll burn myself. But it's salted caramel. I keep forgetting that it's the same one I've had for like the past month. And for as much as we're burning this thing, it's awesome that uh, the scent just continues to fill the room. We're getting down to the bottom. Still smells like salted caramel in here. Aroma by Peter. I checked the link. It's working. aromabypeter.com/Yergz, Yergz, and order your candles. Let's see. Let me do it with this hand so you can actually see my finger. Order your candles and feel the scent, and not just salted caramel, but dude's got so much good smelling stuff. Yeah, if the salted caramel, truth be told, the only one that I've got right now is as good as it is, which it's amazing. The others, I want that leather one so bad. Anyway, go woke or go broke. In recent years, there has been increased attention and discussion around the concept of woke ideology, often associated with social justice movements and activism. Woke is a term that emerged from the concept of waking up and refers to being aware, enlightened, or conscious of social and political issues, particularly those related to the marginalized communities. The growing interest in woke ideology can be attributed to five factors, one of which I'm going to call as flat out bullshit. But five factors that, and again, there you go, right? I'm critiquing the left as well. Social movements, the rise of social movements advocating for civil rights, racial justice, gender equality, LGBT rights, and other social issues has contributed to the spread of woke ideology. Movements like Black Lives Matter and hashtag #MeToo have raised awareness about systemic injustices and encouraged discussions about privilege, power dynamics, and social inequality. Okay, that's fair. I think there's oftentimes what they're not mentioning again. This base started from artificial intelligence for this and the fascism portion. What it's not including is how far that woke ideology goes into what is also called cancel culture. Just because some company had an issue, the CEO has to resign. No, the CEO has to fix it and then move the company forward. But because, oh, it was his or her fault, they got to lose their job, and that's I just don't think that's where it needs to go. Number two is social media and information access. Much like the proliferation of echo chambers from the other segment that we talked about in the fascism movement, Truth Social, and seemingly now Twitter, the addition of social media platforms has provided a space for marginalized voices to be heard, facilitating the rapid dissemination of information and awareness about social issues. So, just like the right has Truth Social and Fox News, and again, like in my opinion, Twitter, the left has its, there are plenty. I think Facebook's kind of leaning a little bit right too more recently, but there are also plenty that, especially of the social networks, social platforms, social media. They're constantly talking about their community being a safe place and having community standards. Not a bad thing, but like I was censored on LinkedIn for correcting somebody who was flat out wrong. That part's not okay. But anyway, rant over, continuing. This has helped in organizing grassroots movements, creating solidarity networks, and challenging traditional power structures. However, like the fascist right, information disseminated by woke culture is only as accurate as that was being collected in the first place. In other words, if you're collecting bullshit, you're going to spread bullshit. Number three, diversity and inclusion efforts. Many organizations, institutions, and educational establishments have prioritized diversity and inclusion initiatives. These efforts aim to address systemic biases, promote equal opportunities, and foster inclusive environments. No problem with that at all. But I think it also, gets back to some of the cancel culture and the level to which, you know, opinions or differing opinions are silenced. As a result, discussions around woke ideologies have become more prominent in these spaces. Again, that's fair, but the information is not getting out of those spaces. So, in other words, if you're on, any one of these establishments and you're talking about ways to improve the world, if you don't get that out to an opposing side, you're not going to improve shit. As a result, the good side of woke culture is not being seen by the right, and vice versa. Number four, generational shift. This is the one that I think is absolute 100% bullshit. Younger generations, such as millennials and Generation Z, have shown greater interest in social justice issues compared to previous generations. My parents are listening to this right now, and they are laughing their asses off. This generational shift has contributed to the popularity and influence of woke ideology. And these generations prioritize inclusivity, activism, and social change. Again, as I said before, I believe this paragraph is bullshit. I see no more protesting than my generation X, my people, or my parents' generation, the original woke movement, more commonly known as counterculture or flower power. The hippies, baby boomers. And to today's Gen Z and company, you can't go saying Stonewall was a riot, threatening to riot if your rights are suppressed, and then go cancel a pride parade because you're worried about your security. Are you hearing me, Tampa? Anyway, number 5. Cultural and media influence. Popular culture and media play a role in shaping societal conversations and attitudes. Television shows, movies, music, and other forms of media from the liberal left increasingly explore social issues, diversity, and representation, helping to mainstream these woke ideas and values, but seemingly doing so by what appears to be force feeding. In other words, the right is rejecting a lot of it because it's just I think the biggest thing is it's something that they don't agree with. So anytime you don't agree with something, you immediately say that it's wrong, and that goes both ways. It's been both ways. But again, same for MAGA. So it either balances out or isn't getting to the other side in the first place. Maggots don't watch Rachel Maddow, and the woke left ain't watching Tucker Carlson. So no matter what platform he's on this week, he's still not being watched. It's important to note that perspectives on woke ideology can vary widely. We talked about that. Some of it's forced, some of it's kind of common sense. And there are ongoing debates and critiques surrounding its application, perceived excesses, and potential limitations. Critics argue that it can sometimes lead to the suppression of free speech and cancel culture, excessive focus on identity politics, much like the right's extreme nationalism, or an overly simplistic understanding of complex issues. However, proponents argue that it is a necessary response to historical and ongoing injustices and serves as a catalyst for social change and progress. As with any ideology, fascist conservatism or woke liberalism is an essential, important element to engage in open and respectful conversation. Critically evaluate ideas and consider diverse perspectives to foster understanding and constructive conversations about these social issues from both the right and the left, as together we go up the middle. Your comments are always welcome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, whatever the platform you're on calls for. I'm Yergz. We've gone up the middle. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you again next time.